Well, hello again. It has been a while, hasn't it? I shelved my project for a year. Actually, a little bit more than a year. Fact is, when COVID ended and we went back to work and the world started returning to normal, I just didn't have enough hours in the day to focus on the game and focus on gigs. And truth be told, I was not in a good place physically or emotionally after everything that had happened, and I'd gained a lot of weight and I was kind of unwell. And the last 6 months I've spent kind of fixing all of that, and I'm doing a lot better now. And with the renewed energy and everything that comes with it, I figured it was time to start working on my game again. At the point when I shelved the project, I just migrated my project across from 5.0 to 5.1 of Unreal Engine. And this broke a bunch of stuff, like the footsteps, which I'm pleased to say are now miraculously working again. I have no idea why they stopped working and then subsequently started working again. But has I ever introduced a lot of other issues, which I'm slowly working my way through. The first thing was a performance hit. Now, it's running fine now, but I had to force it to use DirectX 11 because when it used DirectX 12, I was getting like 10 frames a second. If I do this and just use the console command to show FPS, you'll see there I'm getting around, just hold it so you can see it, like 38, 39, 40 frames a second, which in editor is not bad. And I'll be okay with that. Switch that off again. Let's go inside. One of the other things you will notice is I have done a lot of design work. The rooms are starting to look a lot more fleshed out. This one is looking pretty good. But the reason I came in here in the first place is to show you this, which is probably the single biggest bug that kind of actually made me quit developing the game for a year. It's this stupid torch. Oh god, creepy house. So yeah, in a previous video I showed off these surfaces where if you walk up to them, the camera kind of zooms in and you get control of the mouse so that you can mouse over stuff. And you're supposed to be able to click on stuff and then it zooms in. Now upstairs I did a bunch of sort of red herring objects that are just sort of there for flavor, and one or two that the player can actually pick up and add to the inventory. The problem is this torch. Every time you click on it, it will not focus. If I go upstairs, okay, I can't pick this up because I have the game set to have everything in my inventory already for testing purposes of opening doors and such like. If we go down the corridor and into the study, I can't see anything. This was the original control surface that I did. So if you look here, you'll see how the background blurs and the object comes into focus. And this is true of all of the objects. This is done with a ray trace and setting like a post-process volume that basically all it does is set the focal point and the aperture size so that, you know, it works like a real camera. So that's what it's supposed to do. As you saw, that doesn't work like that. So that was the thing that made me quit game dev in the first place for, like I said, like a year. And then when I came back, a lot of the problems, like I say, had fixed themselves, and there were some new ones that had been introduced. I mean, you'll see there. See that spot of light that's appearing and disappearing on the wall? No idea what's causing that. It's doing that in several places in the house, but yeah, I'll get to that. The big one, and this is something I spent the last 3 days almost literally tearing my hair out about, is this. Let's just run over to the garage. We'll open this door. Takes a while. Oh, I've decorated the garage with all these cars. Are probably not final, they're just there for scale and, you know, just to get an idea of where I can place stuff. So I've got a bunch of shelves with tools. Again, just flavor stuff, set dressing. This is a big problem for me. If you watched my videos before, you'll remember all the problems I've had with light leakage. Well, it's back in this version of Unreal and it's worse than ever. As you can see there, it's particularly bad. And I'll exit out of the game and go back to editor. And if we go in here, you'll see in the cottage, it's particularly bad as well. Let me just get it playing. Oh no, it's actually not. And I'll tell you why, because I fixed this. This is one of the things I fixed. You can see it still does it in the corners. It was way worse than this. So I came up with several different ways to fix this problem. The first is to do with the way that Lumen works. Now, one of the reasons I'm making this video is I hope this will help someone to solve this problem, because it drove me insane. First off, let me just do this. I'm going to turn off everything in the game. So yeah, I'll cut the video here and come back when I've got it set up. Okay, so we're in editor here and we're looking at just the floor plan of the house. Now, the way that Lumen works, the lighting system inside Unreal Engine, is it creates a cache of all the surfaces in the game and then use that to calculate light bounce. And you're supposed to have your meshes be really simple and then, kind of either assemble them in a blueprint or just in world and let Lumen treat each cache differently, because each surface cache separately, because it uses something called mesh cards. Now, one of the fixes was, let me just open this mesh quickly. If you look here, here's the actual mesh. It's a fairly complex shape. If you scroll down over here, you'll see this max lumen mesh cards. Now, this was set to 12, and then I set it to 24. And in some cases, in some of these complex meshes in my projects, this fixed the problem. In others, it didn't. This is one of the ones that didn't. The way to fix this, for whatever reason, let me just go back here, was to go to modeling mode and hit mesh and then remesh. It retriangulated the mesh and then all of the problems were gone. So what was happening originally is, if we go to Lumen visualization and we go to surface cache, all of the inside surfaces here were shown up as pink. Now you'll still see these little pink lines over here. That means that light bounce is not being calculated correctly for that area. And you'll see it here, like every, now and again in a corner or whatever. This is okay. This is acceptable. My game does not have to be perfect. I went on a rant in a previous video years ago about how AAA titles release buggy software, and I'm determined not to do that. But I'm talking more about menus and stuff like that working properly and not being able to break the game, where, like the lighting, good enough is good enough. So this was looking like the lighting in the garage tunnel area, which I was in earlier. It now looks much better. Like there's those little things in the corner. The light above the windows is actually just bounced from the window lights. Now, there is another fix for this stuff, which I'm still busy playing with. This is the one that really got to me. Before I get there, let me show you. I'm going to switch on the ground floor of the house. I'll be back when I've done that. This is what I was talking about. See how all these inside surfaces are pink? Now, I haven't been able to solve it here yet, and I have no idea why it works in some areas of the game and others it doesn't. So, could be that this is just too complex. I've already set, if I open the mesh itself and scroll down, let's just zoom out just so we can see. I'll scroll down, mesh cards already set to 24. It goes up to 32, but I haven't seen any appreciable difference raising it higher than 24. As a matter of fact, we can demonstrate that. If I set this to 32 and hit apply changes and go back to the house, you'll see still pink surfaces everywhere. And I think if you have it set too high in too many assets, you start hitting performance issues. So I'm not going to worry about that. If 24 is not working, 32 is not going to work. So I'm still working on that. But having said that, the lighting on the ground floor is not bad if you walk around. Let's just pop in here and you'll see. Lighting on the ground floor is pretty reasonable. There's some of that bloom in places, but overall this is fine. Like, I can live with this. The problem, like I said, is in this garage area up here, the tunnel that links the main house to the garage. But what I'm going to do is, I'm going to hope this works, because it worked yesterday when I did it, and at the moment I'm busy experimenting with the thickness of materials. That's what the lighting looked like everywhere. As you can see, it looks disgusting. Now, if I exit out here, we'll just have to switch the garage tunnel mesh on, make it visible. You can see these walls were also pink on the inside, meaning that surface cache information was missing. And using the remesh command from modeling mode fixed that. But the lighting issue is still there. Let me switch everything back on. Oh good, this sometimes crashes stuff. Okay, now notice this. I'm going to switch it back from surface cache visualization mode to lit, and you'll notice something. See, this mesh just popped into existence here. This is a light blocking plane. Now, I don't know if this is going to work. I was making them 100 units thick, and that worked, and then I dropped it down to 50, and that worked. I want to drop it down to 20. I want to see how thin I can go, and at the moment this is doing nothing. And the reason it's doing nothing is because if we go back to Lumen mode, Lumen doesn't see it. The way to fix this, and this is again, like, I hope someone will stumble upon this video at some point and go, oh my God, how did you figure that out? I don't know how I figured it out. I threw stuff at the wall until something stuck. That's how I figured it out. The way to fix this is you place the item. So I've placed this box here. And as you can see, look up here, Lumen does not see it as existing. Then you exit the program. You exit Unreal Engine 5. And then you reload Unreal Engine 5. Then with your mesh selected, you open it in the editor and you scroll down and you set two-sided field, I think that says field geometry, field generation. Two-sided field generation. You switch it on, hit apply changes, then you switch it off again and you hit apply changes. And now, when you go back, there it is. Lumen sees it now. You can see it there on top of the garage building. I'll switch over to the full view so that you can see better. Surface cache. Now Lumen sees it. And what's more, when you go inside, the lighting issues are gone. Okay, we're still in Lumen visualization mode. Let me go back to lit. Okay, I see though that clearly more experimentation is required because that is not thick enough. So like I said, I'm experimenting with different thicknesses. So I started with 100, that was thick enough. 50 was thick enough. 20 is clearly not. You can see that lighting around the edges. But if I delete this object, go up and delete it, and it'll go back to the way it was, and you will see the difference immediately. As you can see, it's a lot worse now. So, yeah, more experimentation is required. I'm going to be doing that, and over the next couple of days, once I've got all of my lighting issues solved, I will continue actually making the game. Having said that, I wanted to show off a little bit of coding that I did, because obviously after a year, I'm finding out how rusty you get if you don't keep up the part of your brain that deals with computer logic. You tend to forget stuff rather rapidly. I wanted to show this off. I did some cool stuff in here. So this is the kids' room. Now, children's rooms are fantastically creepy places because you can put dolls in them. Now, I don't have doll models yet, unfortunately. Something I'm hoping to get soon. But I did do this. It's pretty creepy. So imagine the door creaks open and a ball rolls out. And then, as you're standing here, or let's say you go over and you go, oh, yeah, let's close this. And as you walk away, you hear a creak behind you, and you turn around, and the rocking chair and the rocking horse are moving, and the door is open, and while you're standing there, the lights go out. So yeah, just some cool little things that I'm playing with. By the way, the animation curves for the rocking items was hectic, but I still need to fiddle with it a bit. But as you'll see, there's like a little end animation where they kind of come to a stop, which is not perfect yet, but I am working on it. But yeah, that's about it for this video. The project is back on track, and I'm looking forward to carrying on with it and making regular YouTube videos again. Yeah, I'm off to go and solve my lighting issues so that I can get some actual coding done. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.